How does a single heist go from being just another crime to becoming a cultural phenomenon? The answer lies in the Great Train Robbery of 1963. It wasn't just the money, though that was staggering, but the sheer audacity of the criminals that captivated the world. Imagine this. A Royal Mail train carrying millions of pounds in cash is stopped dead in its tracks. A gang of 15 pulls off a heist so bold and well-planned that it leaves the police scrambling, the public in awe, and the criminals almost legendary. But how did they do it? And what makes this heist one of the most infamous crimes in modern history? Let's break it down. To understand the magnitude of this heist, you need to know the target. The Royal Mail train was a vital link between Glasgow and London, transporting not just letters but high-value cargo like cash. On the night of August 8, 1963, this train carried 2.6 million pounds, worth over 50 million pounds today. That's a haul too tempting for any criminal to ignore. Meet Bruce Reynolds, the brain behind the operation. He was no petty thief. Reynolds was a career criminal with a sharp mind and an eye for opportunity. He assembled a team of specialists, each chosen for their unique skills. Safecrackers, drivers, mechanics, it was a crew built for success. The gang's plan relied heavily on information from an insider known only as the Ulster Man. This shadowy figure provided critical details about the train's schedule and cargo. Without him, the heist might never have happened. For months, the gang scouted locations, practiced their moves, and even rehearsed the operation. They chose Bradego Bridge in Ledburn, Buckinghamshire, as their ambush point. Why? Its isolation made it the perfect spot to stop the train without drawing attention. August 8, 1963. It's a quiet night. The Royal Mail train is speeding toward London, carrying cash destined for banks. Everything seems routine, but just past 3 a.m., the gang strikes. Using insider knowledge, the gang tampered with the signal lights, turning them red. The train obediently stopped, and the gang sprang into action. Armed but calm, they climbed aboard and overpowered the train's driver, Jack Mills. Mills tried to resist, but the gang hit him over the head with an iron bar, leaving him badly injured. With military-like precision, the gang unhooked the car carrying the cash and attached it to their own locomotive. But here's a bizarre twist. The gang's hired driver, brought in to operate the train, couldn't figure out how to drive it. That's right. They had to rely on Jack Mills, their injured hostage, to move the train. Talk about irony. The gang drove the money-laden car to a prearranged spot and began unloading. They worked quickly, transferring bags of cash into their getaway vehicles. In under an hour, they were gone, leaving behind an empty train and a baffled police force. With their haul secured, the gang retreated to Leatherslade Farm, a remote hideout they'd rented weeks earlier. It was the perfect spot to lay low and divide the loot. But here's where their meticulous planning started to unravel. The gang had stolen 2.6 million pounds, mostly in small denominations. To put that in perspective, it would take a truck to carry that much cash today. But dividing it wasn't as simple as they'd thought. Tempers flared, and cracks began to show in their unity. Despite their careful planning, the gang made two critical errors. They left behind countless fingerprints at the farmhouse. From dishes to board games, the police found evidence that would later seal their fate. Instead of splitting up immediately, the gang stayed at the farmhouse for several days. This gave the police time to track them down. When the crime was discovered, it sparked one of the largest manhunts in British history. The media went wild, dubbing the criminals as both villains and folk heroes. But the gang's luck was running out. Police found Leatherslade Farm abandoned, but the gang's fingerprints were everywhere. Over the next few months, they arrested 12 members of the gang. Bruce Reynolds, however, managed to evade capture for 5 years. The captured gang members faced harsh sentences. Most received 30 years in prison, a reflection of the crime's audacity and public outrage. But even behind bars, the story wasn't over. Some gang members managed to escape prison, adding another layer of drama to the story. Ronnie Biggs, for example, became a media sensation after escaping and living in Brazil for decades. So, what makes this heist so fascinating? Here are some reasons. Stopping a moving train and stealing millions? It's the stuff of movies. Despite their crimes, the gang became folk heroes, seen as rebels who outsmarted the system. The Great Train Robbery inspired countless books, movies, and TV shows. It's a story that refuses to fade. Not all the money was recovered, and some gang members' roles remain unclear. Where did the missing cash go? Did insiders help them escape? Theories abound. The mysterious insider, who provided key information, was never identified. Who was he? A disgruntled employee? A criminal mastermind? We may never know. At Leather Slave Farm, the gang played Monopoly using real money. Imagine that, playing with millions in stolen cash. Some of the loot was never found. Could it still be hidden somewhere in Britain? Treasure hunters have spent decades searching. Big's escape and life in Brazil turned him into a celebrity. He even recorded a song with the Sex Pistols. The Great Train Robbery is more than just a heist. It's a symbol of a bygone era when ingenuity and audacity could shake the establishment. Bruce Reynolds and his gang may not have been heroes, but their story captured the public's imagination in a way few crimes ever have. What makes this case so enduring is its complexity. It's not just about the money. It's about the planning, the mistakes, and the human element. The gang's brilliance was matched only by their hubris. They stopped the train, but they couldn't stop themselves from leaving behind the evidence that would ultimately bring them down. Even today, the unanswered questions linger. Who is the Ulsterman? Where is the missing money? Could a heist like this happen again in a world dominated by technology and surveillance? These mysteries keep the story alive, ensuring its place in true crime lore. The Great Train Robbery also serves as a reminder of the power of storytelling. It's a tale that blends adventure, intrigue, and caution. It warns us about the risks of greed while celebrating the human capacity for invention, even in the pursuit of crime. As we reflect on this incredible event, it's impossible not to wonder what might have been if the gang had been just a little more careful. Would they have escaped into obscurity with their fortune intact, or was their downfall inevitable? That's the allure of the Great Train Robbery, a story as rich and layered as the history it left behind. So, the next time you hear the whistle of a passing train, think of Bruce Reynolds and his audacious gang. They may not have changed the world, but they certainly left their mark on it. And who knows? Somewhere out there, a hidden stash of cash might still be waiting to be found.